and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark. Today I want to talk about how to be more successful on Poshmark and how to generate more sales. I have a couple tips here that I definitely want to talk about that I can't recommend enough. So without further ado, let's get right into the video, but make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future reselling content. So the first tip I have for you to be very successful on Poshmark is to use a white background in your cover photos. So I don't know if you know this, but Google gives priority to items and listings that have a white background. So I use the app called Photo Room to generate that white background, and I think it really helps to make the item look a lot better, make it look more professional, and make it look like it's more of a storefront than just randomly, hung up in your room on a background that's, not super clear. So this makes a really big difference. It looks more professional, it looks more uniform, and it really makes the item stand out and make it more clear in your closet. It makes it really easy to tell what you're actually selling. And again, with Google giving priority to those kind of listings, you're going to show up more when someone's searching for something on Google that they want to buy. And so therefore you're going to actually generate more sales because your items are going to show up more. So I think this just goes a long way to do this, and it's very simple. Photo Room is a free app. They have a version that you can pay for, but I just use the free app, and all you do is you click on your photo in Photo Room, and then it generates the white background for you. You save it to your phone, or you can upload it directly to Poshmark or whatever platform, and then you can post it. So it's very simple. It takes a few seconds, and again, it's free to just do the minimum. Okay, so now that your items are given priority from Google for having the white background and they're going to show up in more searches, you want to make sure that you're not hurting your SEO, search engine optimization, by doing these things. So if you have typos in your listings, if you have typos in your descriptions, and if you have a lack of description or no style tags, it's going to make it very hard for people to search your item. And so I think it's very important to go through your listings, go one by one, check the title for typos, check the descriptions for typos, make sure you're being descriptive, make sure you're describing the item in any way you possibly can, and make sure you're using style tags. Style tags are a way to describe the item in a different way than just putting it in the listing. So they have some ones that are generated for you that you can describe the item in, or you can create your own. And you can use 3 on Poshmark, and so I recommend just using 3 per listing because you might as well, they're just a free thing to use, and it will make your item a lot more searchable if you tag it with those things because people are looking for certain things. So I think this goes a long way, and you'd be surprised because a lot of people think, okay, I don't have typos in my listings, but most people do. And honestly, I've been reselling for 5 years now, and I had plenty of typos in my listings. And so I think it's really important to just go through and make sure that you don't have those typos. And it's really easy to miss them because you know what you're trying to say when you are typing out the description. But a lot of the times there are actually typos that when you're typing too fast or if you're not using autocorrect. So just go through and make sure you check this because your items are not going to show up in the search if you have typos. So definitely make sure that you fix this, and that goes with the titles as well. And also just make sure you're describing the item in detail. You want to make sure that you're covering everything: the size, the measurements, the fit, the textures, if there's any stains or rips, or how the item will fit. Anything that you can think of that would be helpful if you were looking for an item, you want to basically include all the information. And how I recommend doing this is creating a template for your listings, so that way you can just follow it every time. That way you're not forgetting anything. So kind of just write out, okay, measurement, and then whatever the measurements are, and then like the size, and then fill that out. So that would help you generate a more consistent listing, and it would really make it easy for the buyer because then they could just scroll through to find what they're looking for. So I highly recommend doing this, and I think it'll go a long way and make your items a lot more searchable, which will actually help you make a lot more sales. And the final tip that I wanted to talk about on how to make more sales, which is actually, I think, the biggest one, is to use a VA to help you do the simple tasks, such as like sharing, following, relisting, delisting, all of the above. So this goes a long way because it takes away the hard part. You don't have to sit there and share anymore. You don't have to sit there and follow people. But it's also important to do, especially on Poshmark. If you're not sharing, if you're not following, your items are not going to show up in the feed, and therefore you're not going to make a lot of sales. So I noticed that if I don't share it a day, I actually really like start making less sales. But if I'm really sharing, if I'm following, I think that really helps, and I've generated more sales doing that. And also I've noticed too, if you have the VA share for you and follow for you, you'll actually get more people sharing your items and following you, which is getting more eyes on your items. And this also helps too if you are hosting Posh shows, which is the new way to go live on Poshmark. If you have more followers, your items are going to be, blasted to more people, because every single person that's following you gets a notification that you're going live. So if I was going live, I'd have 115,000 people that are going to get a notification saying I'm going live. So you're going to get more of an audience. So I think it's just really good to get people to, follow your page or to share your items, because that's going to help you get more visibility. And the VA will do this all for you. You don't have to worry about it. You can schedule it. You can before you leave the house for the day, you can just say, share my closet 10 times. It will share it for you. You could have it follow, auto follow, auto share, all the above. And I think it's really important to do this because you don't have to waste your time doing it anymore. And it's, one of those tasks that like nobody enjoys doing, but they know they have to do it. And so now that I don't have to do this anymore, I have a lot more time to go out and do other things and be more productive for my business, while I can also still see the sales coming in. So no longer do you have to sit there and share all day. No longer do you have to follow people. And my favorite part of this, having a VA is actually having it relist and delist for me. So a lot of you know that if you relist your items after 60 days, they will show up in the new feed. But if you don't relist them after that 60 days, if you do it before that, they're not going to show up in the new feed. But a lot of people are like, well, how do I know, what the date of the item, when it was created? Unless you're tracking that on your own, or unless you, I think if you take the URL from the page, you can find out what the date was. But that's just like a hassle, and I can't be bothered to do that every time. So what you actually can do is you can just say, okay, relist all items, or relist, however many items that are, older than 60 days. So I will do this every single night. I will do it for the 10 p.m. Parties, and I will pick 5 items, and I will say relist anything that's older than 60 days. And this is a way to, find out what has been sitting, get it relisted, and a lot of times it actually sells like instantly after I do that. So I think this is a great way to find out what has been sitting and, relist it. And it's so important to relist inventory because items get stale over time and then they're just not going to sell. So this is one of my favorite features. Like I said, I think it's very helpful, and it goes a long way to relist. And it takes the hassle out of having to do it yourself, because it will delete the old listing but then create the new listing, and you don't have to worry about deleting the word copy from the title. It doesn't do that for you. So it makes it really easy, and like I said, you don't have to do that yourself. You could also change the price while you're relisting, so it gives you the option to raise the price if you want to. So you can really customize it to fit your needs. And so again, these are just a couple of the features that it has, that it offers. But like I said, you could do auto sharing. So you could say how much you wanted to share in a day. You can tell it how much you want to follow in a day. But it does have a recommendation of you should only do about 7,000 shares a day, because Poshmark will detect that it's more like a bot. And so they will kind of, put a freeze on your account. And then if you get over that 10,000 shares a day, you will actually go to Posh jail, which is just like, what people call it, but it basically doesn't allow you to share for a certain amount of time because you've shared too much. So the VA will only allow you to share about 7,000. That's what it recommends. You can go over that, but then you risk kind of going to the Posh jail. So you want to make sure that you only share the threshold that it tells you to do. And so I'd normally stick to that 7,000. But one thing to note is if you're going to do the auto sharing, for sharing other people's closets, that takes away from some of your shares. So just kind of note that if you're going to have the auto sharing on, you're not going to get the full 7,000 shares for your own personal closet. And I've actually had to learn that the hard way because I've run out of shares too early in the day. So it's really a nice tool to play around with. They offer a 14-day free trial, so you can try it out if you would like to, and it's very helpful to try it out and see if you like it, see if it works for you. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to continue, but I can promise you that you're gonna really like it, because I really liked it right away. And so I, obviously continued it right after I got it. But if you want to give Posh Your VA you want to try it out, I highly recommend it. It's a great tool, and it goes a really long way and it really helps you. A lot of people say, I don't think I could, I don't think it's worth it right now, like I'm not going to be making back that money, but you will start realizing that very quickly you make back what you paid for the VA. So I highly recommend it. If you want to give it a try, you can click the link down in my description to start out, and you'll get actually, money off of your first month after you do the free trial. And so I highly recommend doing that and trying it out. And let me know down below if you use any other kind of sharing, platform. I know there's a bunch out there that, you can use on Poshmark. Let me know what one you use down below, which one is your favorite, or if you've tried Poshmark VA and if you like it. I'm very curious because this is the first one I tried and I just, didn't want to go away from this one, but I'm curious what other ones other people use. So those are my 3 tips on how to make more sales and be more successful on Poshmark. These are 3 things that go a very long way that aren't talked about enough, but I promise you will make a huge difference and you will see a lot more sales coming in. As I've started to make these changes and go through my listings to make sure there's no typos, make sure all my listings have a white background, and use my VA to share for me and do all this stuff, I've been seeing a lot more sales come in, and I've almost doubled, if not tripled, my sales. So I highly recommend doing that, and you will see a big difference yourself in your sales. If you want to see more reselling content, I have a huge playlist, and I upload every single Thursday if you're interested in sticking around. But if you want to see, for now, if you want to see a video on what you should and shouldn't do on Poshmark, including what will get you banned on the platform, you can click right here. And if you want to see new features that were released recently on Poshmark, you can click right here. But until next time, I will see you then.